Welcome to the Socks Gone podcast, where we unravel the secrets of exceptional customer service and show you how to knock your customers' socks off. Tune in, get inspired, and take your service to the next level. Socks Gone, where our socks are always knocked off.
All right, welcome back to the Socks Gone podcast, where our socks are always knocked off. I have a very special guest today, somebody that knows a lot about knocking socks off. Actually has a big history of knocking socks off and wowing customers. Very excited to have him. I have Zach Garside with me today, who is with Prolific Brand Design. Excited to hear his story. He's going to share some great stuff with us today. So Zach, welcome to the Socks Gone podcast. How are we doing?
Thank you, Corey. I'm just peachy. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So I want to start this off with your journey. The listeners want to hear about your story, your superhero origin story. Is the trades something that you always inspired to get into, or did you just kind of stumble into it?
And technically, I grew up in it with my father. He owned a locksmith business in Southern California. Tremendous sacrifice on his part to grow that business. So tremendous. In fact, in 2006, when I was 11 years old, my family wanted to move from California to Utah. So for the next 12 years, my dad commuted from Utah to California every Monday and flew back every Friday. 12 years.
Wow.
A 5-day commute.
Jeez.
So he, and I know that theme of sacrifice runs through a lot of trades businesses. And then in 2015, I had just returned from serving as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Ghana. And when I returned, I was approached by Brigham Dickinson to join Power Selling Pros, a CSR training company, where I worked for 8 years as a coach for call centers, trainer. I ran sales there, eventually was the CEO for a little while. And then finally, I started my email marketing agency right after I left that business. And we merged with Prolific just a couple months ago. Now, we help contractors knock their customer socks off with insane logo design, truck wrap design, and email marketing campaigns that stand out in the inbox.
I love it. You're knocking socks off before we even say hello. That truck, especially that's driving around, that's out there every single day. People are seeing that. It's like a sales guy on wheels. So that's just always saying something, right? Visually. So that's awesome. What's something that I say all the time, and I teach this and I live by this. Don't just think about what you're getting. Think about what you're becoming, because what you become ultimately determines what you're going to get, right? So tell me something, throughout your journey in the trade, you spent a lot of time in customer service and training in customer service and call center. What's some things that you learned through that journey that you feel like helps you, now be able to do what you do today?
I think my favorite thing I ever learned from coaching call centers, and I carry this with me now still, is you might not be able to compete on price. You might not be able to compete on ad budgets. There's a lot of things that are out of your control competitively, but you can be 10 times better than all of your competition at customer experience simply by choice. It doesn't even require investment. It doesn't require any extra capital or even time. It's literally a decision, a switch you can flip to say, we're going to be the best at customer service, period, end of story. That's the thing that I carry with me. And even now still in email marketing and brand design, our focus is less on competing on volume of reach or volume of cash spent on advertising. Those things are important, right? But our focus is, how can you make choices intentionally to shock and awe and amaze your customers? Your logo design, your truck wrap design, your brand is a choice that you make. Your brand voice, when you send an email or a follow-up message to your customers, is a choice you make. You can choose to sound like everyone else or some overly advertising entity. Is that even a logical phrase? Some sort of entity that Everything looks
Sounds
like
good.
an ad, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like advertising.
Yeah.
You can sound like that, or you can sound like yourself. You can sound
Yeah.
like a friend. So I think my biggest takeaway has always been, what things can we be better than everyone else at simply by choice, rather than by virtue of having to, come up with all these resources and all this time. What are the quick decisions we can make that don't
Yeah.
require us to do anything else besides just
Yeah,
choose?
that don't really require you to, like you said, to spend a whole lot of extra money. Just in improving that quality of customer service. That is huge, Zach. So that's great, and that's extremely helpful. And it's surprising how often we see contractors that don't really make that choice, right? Or they don't understand the value of their level of customer service. So, so important, so huge. So, I appreciate you sharing that. So, I want to hear a story about where you in the past or recently where you knocked customer socks off. But before I get there, we can save that for the end. Tell me a little bit more about what you do at Prolific Brand Design, and how you are, how you can help others knock their customer socks off. So tell me a little about email marketing, and then you can get into the truck wraps.
Yeah. Which one do you want me to start with, email marketing or
Yeah, email marketing.
brand design?
I want to learn something here. I need to get better at my email marketing. Help me,
Well,
Zach.
every business that I know of wants more of three things: more leads, more sales, and more brand recall. You want more people to reach out to you, more people to do business with you, and more people to remember who you are over the long term. And the traditional way of going about that is advertising.
Yeah.
More pay-per-click, more social media, more ads, more inserts into magazines or newspapers or radio ads, whatever format your business invests in to increase lead sales and brand recall. And all those things are fantastic. But what I believe is overlooked is your email list, your contact database. I always found this fascinating at Power Slang Pros when people would ask us, like, how do we get our customer service reps to make outbound calls? And after 8 years of coaching CSRs, I finally concluded it's not going to happen. Like, it didn't matter how many great scripts I came up with or how many trainings we did. People just hate making outbound calls. They freaking hate it, especially CSRs. So I thought, what about your email list? Like, have you ever run a successful email campaign before? So I started testing that with some contractors, and we were able to see great results by putting together email campaigns that are entertaining, educational, and get straight to a call to action. It's about writing emails that people actually want to read and buy from. So that's the email marketing side. I look at every business that has a contact database of some kind. And I simply look at it this way. If you've got, for the sake of math, we'll say 20,000 people in your contact database. Yours might be more, might be less. But if you've got 20,000 people and you're able to pull a 50% open rate every time you send an email, and you send one once a week, that means every single week, 10,000 people are seeing your name in their inbox and seeing your offers. And how much more does it cost you in advertising?
What was that? What were those numbers? Give me those numbers again.
If you have, this is hypothetically, if you
Yeah.
have 20,000 people on your list, replace 20,000 with whatever your number is, and you're getting a 50% open rate, which our clients average 30 to 50%.
Wow.
That's 10,000 people that are seeing your name, your brand, your offers in their inbox every single week. 10,000 people.
Wow.
And it doesn't cost, you're not spending any more money on advertising. You're not having to bend over backwards or dance like a dummy on TikTok or try to appease
Quite a bit of that.
the algorithm gods at Facebook or Google.
Yes.
All you have to do is send an email.
Yeah. So now, are we talking about emailing? Now, the email marketing you do, is it directed towards the customer database, current, past clients, or do you also target non-clients as well? Is there? Are you?
Yeah, anybody in your contact database who you have permission to talk to. So that's
Gotcha.
leads, people who've called you or reached out or inquired about your services, open estimates, and customers with past service.
So there's no you're not buying. Now I don't know how that works. I'm learning here. So with email marketing, with a customer list? Like, can you buy lists of non-customers? And I know there's laws with that. And is that something you guys do as well, or do you just focus on that customer database?
We do not interact with or advocate for buying lists. I think
Gotcha.
it's bad practice.
Bad practice. Okay.
I think you deserve to be in the spam
I agree.
folder if
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Uh-huh.
The only appropriate use of purchasing lists is one-on-one outreach, not mass outreach.
Yeah. There you go. That's good.
One-on-one outreach is great. You could
Yep.
you could download a list of 10,000 people from a contact database like Coldlytics, for example, and you could set some salespeople loose on there with great training on how to contact those people, build a connection with them. But we focus specifically on earned lists. That's leads, open estimates, and customers who you have permission to talk to and you have some kind of past relationship with.
Gotcha. That's great advice. And what's the secret of staying out of the spam folder? Like, there's probably several things, but what's some of the main things you want to focus on to stay out of spam folders?
It definitely is multiple things.
Yeah.
It's two parts. One part is the technical setup, like how your email platform is set up and optimized is one factor. And then the other factor is the quality of your content and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you have a good relationship, a good brand in your area that people know, like, and trust, and you're showing up with content that they enjoy reading, then you're probably going to do just fine landing in the inbox, not the spam folder, assuming that you have the technical stuff set up properly too, in terms of your email platform and all that.
Right. The back end stuff.
Yeah, but those are the two main things. Like, we've got a client right now who was forwarding me some replies he got from his list over the weekend. And this is a heating and cooling company in the Northeast. And this guy's got customers telling him they love his email. The information is awesome. They look forward to getting them. This is a heating and cooling company who people enjoy reading their email.
Right.
People look at me like I'm speaking blasphemy sometimes when I talk about that, or like it's a magic trick. But it really is just as simple as, man, be yourself, be entertaining, be interesting. People read things that would seem boring by themselves, but when you wrap it in some kind of entertainment and personality and personalization, then you can have really tremendous success and you can build a good relationship where people look forward to what you've got to say to them.
Yeah, I think that's key. I seen a post that you did, and I really like that. And it's something that I'm practicing in working to input in more of my content is entertainment. And I mentioned a little show that's coming out called Booked or Busted that my company's going to be doing. And the goal of that is to be entertaining, right? It's going to have value in it. It's going to be educational, but we want it to be fun. We want it to be entertaining. And I love that post that you did because it's so true. You listed off all the different, I think some of the TV shows and different things that stick, right? So how can you make your content more entertaining? And you think about the best marketing out there. It's usually entertaining. It's funny. And a lot of times, some of you agree with this. I think some of the best marketing is cheesy, can be cheesy.
There's a lot of different ways to infuse your marketing with entertainment value. One is your personality. Another is storytelling. Another is create your own vocabulary. Like you, for example, have the whole sock knocker mentality. Like that is the definition of infusing your marketing with entertainment. You've come up with this phrase, this terminology. We're going to knock your socks off. What's up, sock knockers? Like you've given this moniker to your customer base. Wit, being unpredictable, using characters or pop culture analogies.
I like that.
A new Marvel movie came out over the weekend, and it's probably on a lot of people's minds. Like, hey, there's this new Marvel movie. I wonder if it's any good.
Did it? What movie came out?
Fantastic Four came out.
Did it? Okay.
So you could play into the culture, right? And use these elements. If I was a heating and cooling company, for example, you have two options for the type of content you want to run. Okay. One is how to change your air filter. Very direct, very straightforward, very to the point. The problem is I could ask ChatGPT to answer that question for me and it would give me a pretty good response. Yeah. Anybody could come up with how to change your air filter. But if I knew that people in my area are going to the movies this weekend. They're going to see the Fantastic Four, for example. I might say how Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, would change his air filter.
There you
Or how when the new Jurassic Park movie came out, or Jurassic World movie came out a few weeks ago, how to protect your air conditioner from a dinosaur attack.
Right.
I'm just infusing like things that are on people's mind in the community to
Yeah, that's great.
what I do, right?
That's
Same thing
great.
during election season. I wouldn't have gotten political,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have said something to the effect of Trump versus Biden, who changes their air filter better?
There you go.
And it's
I
like
love it, man. That's great.
you're just trying to create these memorable nose breath laugh. Like the nose
Yeah.
breath laugh is when people kind of chuckle, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create those little
Like I'm
moments
doing
for
right now.
people that are
Yeah.
very memorable. That's how we increase leads. It's how we increase sales, and it's how we increase brand recall.
Yeah. I like what you said, and I've never thought about it like that. But that is brilliant that you want to cater towards what people are currently thinking about. If it's the election, if it's a big hit movie coming out, how can you craft your marketing around that? Because they're already thinking about it. So when they see that email come through and they see something about dinosaur attack, they immediately, oh, what's this? And that seems like it gets opened. And that was going to be my next question on that was what's the secret of getting that high open rate? Obviously, it's getting in their inbox and staying out of the spam folder, which we talked about. But when it comes to it's in their inbox, what's one key to getting them to open that email? Is it just those headlines? Is it the preview text?
Well, it depends on at what point you're talking about. So if you're just getting started with email marketing,
Yep.
and you've never done it or you haven't done it in a long time, then the key to getting a really high open rate is to have a subject line and a from name that's like impossible to ignore.
Gotcha.
One of my favorites when I'm trying to like essentially resurrect an email list,
Okay.
like bring it back from the dead, is I'll put the subject line reply or RSVP.
Okay.
There's a lot of curiosity there. So curiosity would be the number one way to do it if you haven't had a relationship with your list in a long time, is infuse your subject line with as much curiosity as possible, because people will open emails, they will buy products simply because they want to satisfy their curiosity.
Yeah.
The second thing is be consistent. If you are known as a person of value and entertainment over an extended period of time, people will open over the long term. And that's how
Right.
you sustain those types of open rates many months and years into the future. I've been doing email marketing since 2018. That's when I started.
Well,
And
you seem like you've been doing it for like 50 years, Zach. You're very knowledgeable. I love it.
but in all that time, like 30 to 50% has always been my expectation, no matter what business I'm writing for. And that's just, I've been doing it so many times. I've written so many emails and made every mistake possible at this point.
Gotcha. Yeah, you learn from the mistakes, and that's what's great about hiring somebody like you is you can either learn the hard way or you can take the easy path and hire Prolific and have them handle all your email marketing. Because Zach here has been through the fire. He's learned what works, what doesn't work. It's the same thing in the call center space. Why? Yeah, you can sit there and try to figure it all out, but we're going to get you there a lot faster than you would. We're going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So that's awesome, Zach. And I'm gonna get something for myself here. Then we're gonna move on and hear a little bit about the truck design. Then I want to hear your story. What would you recommend to? We got a lot of not just contractors listening to this, but people like myself or you that are consultants or have these companies. What's a couple tips for a company like mine, like a consulting company with email marketing? I don't know if I'm sure you do your own stuff too, but what's the secret there? Similar approach as far as how contractors handle it, or different content of course.
For email specific.
Yeah. So email marketing for like a consulting company like mine, like for Sock Knocker. What would be a good starting point? I send out emails, of course. I send out, I do my Sock Knocker tip of the week and stuff like that. Any recommendations you'd give somebody like me?
So many. So many. It really does come down to, given the time that we have right now for me to dive into this.
Yeah, yes.
I would say just do it as often as you possibly can.
Okay.
Like, there have been points throughout the last 8 years where I email my list literally every single day.
Wow. Okay.
The more you do it, the more you establish your authority, the more you establish your expertise, the more you train people to expect it on a frequent basis from you. Be known as a person of quality.
Yep. You don't want to send out like an email every day that's just trash or just a ChatGPT generated nonsense. You want there to be substance.
Yeah, you
don't want to get the unsubscribe button hit.
If you can help it, don't even. And I don't even care about unsubscribe. Dude, unsubscribe, please. I want people to unsubscribe from my emails because I'm much more intense about curating a quality list as opposed to collecting a giant list of people who are not my ideal customer. If someone's not my ideal customer and they realize it, I want them to unsubscribe.
There you go.
But be known as a person of quality. Like, look around you right now on the internet and just observe what actually resonates with you. Not what do you think you're supposed to support, but what actually resonates with you. Because we are at a point where a lot of people are shilling this AI stuff. Like, AI is going to change everything. We've been hearing AI is going to change everything for 4 years, okay? AI is going to change everything. AI is the future of content creation. AI is going to replace copywriters. Look, I literally could care less about AI's ability to write. I do not care, because anybody who thinks that AI is good at writing doesn't know what writing actually is about. It's about your connection with the audience.
Yeah.
Like, first and foremost. So I welcome AI because I look at my competitors using AI to produce content right now, and I know over the long term, I'm going to smoke them from a quality standpoint.
Yeah.
Because I'm not focused on churning out halfway decent scholarly articles for people to read. I'm trying to establish a relationship with people. That's my focus. You cannot do that with AI because it's in the name, artificial. Artificial intelligence producing artificial content that creates an artificial relationship.
Yeah.
So I focus really heavily, and I would for any business, like, relationship first. Sell the relationship before anything, because email is a 5-year channel, not a 5-week channel. Okay, this is not like we're knocking on doors, we're trying to get the sale right now type thing. We're trying to get sales right now, but we want to preserve our relationship with our list for a long time, so they'll buy again and again and again. Focus on the relationship, focus on quality, focus on giving people something to think about. This is when you filter content through that lens, like, what builds a relationship, what is quality, what changes people's thinking about the problem I solve. You'll realize that there's not really that much out there in the world that meets that quality threshold. But you can, every single day you can wake up and you can ask yourself, what bothers me about the way people do things in my industry? What do I think about that? How did I figure out my point of view on this matter? And then you send an email about it. I do this with home service companies all the time. Like, what bothers me about the way people approach garage door problems? One thing that bothers me is people sharing bad do-it-yourself advice on Reddit and YouTube. So then I go write an email about the advice that I saw people giving on Reddit and YouTube, and how following that kind of advice is going to make you lose a limb faster than anything. And so now I'm focused on it's a completely different mental approach to content creation than what you're seeing kind of get peddled on the internet right now.
Yeah. Well, Zach, great advice. I mean, awesome. A couple things there. I was talking to my partner, Daniel, who's a technologist, and I do all the customer service stuff and people-facing stuff, and he handles a lot of the back-end technology and software stuff. And He was on a rant about AI, and of course we have AI in the call center heavily, which is great in a lot of ways. Then we have our AI CSRs, which I think are great for, not for everybody, but it's a great resource for overflow and after hours call center. But we were talking about, the argument of, is AI CSRs going to replace people eventually? Me and you have talked about this in the past, and it seems like it is. But the one thing that you just hit the nail on the head is that, yes, a AI CSR can sound like they care, right? We can program them to show empathy, but that person on the other end knows what? Knows that they don't care because they're a robot, right? So I just don't think we'll ever, an AI, and we said we couldn't fly either. We couldn't fly airplanes, and we did. So I'm not going to say never, but I just don't think that AI can ever have, it can act like it, but it can never have a real emotional connection with a person. So if you believe that's important in customer service, then I don't know how AI is ever gonna do that. Again, I love AI call centers. I think they're great for overflow backup. Are they going to completely replace CSRs? We'll see. I think it's going to be something that it's going to be like, well, it's a cost thing, but I think time will tell. But that's my take on it, going right along with what you said about that emotional connection, the copyright thing, right? And it's just so much better. And I see your stuff come through and a lot of your social media stuff, and you can tell it's authentic. And you can definitely tell when somebody just went on ChatGPT and said, hey, write me this post for blah, 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 blah. Now, ChatGPT is great. I use it. But I write my own stuff, and then I just have ChatGPT correct my grammar, maybe add some emojis, or, touch it up a bit. And I think you're crazy if you don't use ChatGPT to help you be more productive and work faster. But to let it do everything for you is just, you're taking out the human touch from it. So awesome. Okay, so quickly, got a little time left. Anything you'd like to share on, I wanted to focus on email marketing because I'm fascinated by it, and I think it's something that people overlook. Anything you'd like to share on the brands for trucks and kind of some of the stuff you do there with brand design?
Yeah, it's very similar in terms of, we focus on the foundation of a good brand before we focus on the design of the brand. Most people, when they come to Prolific, they want a logo and they want a truck wrap. We need a rebrand, something that stands out in the street, something that gets us more eyeballs on our brand, something that gets us more customers, better return on all our other marketing investment. That's the end goal. That's where we're headed with rebranding. The approach that we take to get you there is to focus a lot on strategy. When we meet with a client, we actually spend 4 hours with them in a meeting with Ryan Kettering, our creative director and CEO, where Ryan dives deep on, what do you believe and stand for? What's your brand personality? There's actually 12 brand personality types, and we help each of our clients identify which one is theirs.
That's awesome.
And then what's the story that you want customers to say about you? What do you want the market to know about you? Once we answer those questions and we dive deep on them, then we create a logo and a truck wrap design that is a true reflection of who you are. There's a lot of branding that's pretty but pointless because it looks good, but it's not the best visual representation of who you actually are and what you stand for. So that's our major focus with our clients is, let's get the strategy piece right first. Let's make sure that you know and we know exactly who you are, and then we can create a brand that makes it feel like you're everywhere in your market. I was recently talking to a Prolific customer, and I asked him, hey, what did your rebrand do for your business? And he said, I had a customer recently tell me that they see me all over town. And this guy's based in a very densely populated town in Florida. He said, they see me everywhere, but I only have 2 trucks. And that's a perfect illustration, I think, of what happens when you get the rebrand process right. Is your brand identity, your logo and your truck wrap are a perfect visual representation of who you are, what you stand for, and what you want people to know about you.
Yeah.
And then when it goes out there, it seems like you're everywhere. You're all over the place because you just have this billboard in the form of your truck that's getting 50,000 impressions a day. You have this logo and this uniform and this language and symbolism that you can use to build intense loyalty with your team. When you do a rebrand, we see teams and employees just get super stoked about coming back to work because now there's some symbol there, right? It's like what the American flag does for our country. When we say the national anthem, what do we say? We pledge allegiance to the flag.
Right.
Like the symbol is a thing that we're pledging allegiance to because we need the symbol to remind us what we stand for.
Yeah.
And it's the same with your logo and your truck wraps. They should serve as a symbol to your team and to your customers of what you stand for and get people stoked to work with you.
Gotcha. I love it. Well, man, Zach, I'm about to turn this into a Joe Rogan podcast and go about 2 hours because you just got so much great information to share. I could just keep the questions rolling, but I'm not going to. But I would like to wrap up with your socks gone story. If you could just share a time in throughout your journey to the trades where with your services, whatever that might have been, where you really knocked a customer's socks off. And of course, you know what that means. You know what the wow experience is. And you know probably better than anybody what that looks like when a customer has it.
I'll share one of my very earliest ones from 10 years ago, which was that I was working with a home service business that was struggling with customer empathy. And they were like, oh, we got this customer who called in and her ice maker was broken and she was absolutely hysterical about it. But I just don't think it's a big deal. That's what the CSR told me. I said, of course you don't think it's a big deal. It's just an ice maker. Like, an ice maker is not a big deal. We can fix an ice maker. But what you don't understand is it's not just the ice maker. The ice maker is the last in a series of dominoes that has fallen in this customer's life. The ice maker, the hospital bills that are racking up on the kitchen counter, the child who's struggling in school and making friends, the husband who just lost his job, or and now on top of all these things, the ice maker's broken too. Are you kidding me? And that empathy mentality, right? Empathy first is kind of what I like to say.
Yes.
In all things, empathy first. When I'm writing an email, what's the customer going to think when they read this email? What's going to go through their minds? What emotions are they going to experience? Or what are they going to feel compelled to do? Empathy first. When we're designing a truck wrap, what's going to get this business owner, what's going to get their team just stoked to come to work, to come and do great work for their clients? Empathy first. In all things, it's empathy first, empathy first, empathy first. Anytime that I veer off the path of empathy first and start thinking about it selfishly or in terms of what I want, rather than what does the customer, what does the client want, what are they going to get from this? That's generally when my performance slips, when the content that I write isn't that good, or when the answers that I provide people who ask me questions aren't that high quality, because I'm thinking of it in terms of myself as opposed to, with a empathetic lens. So
yeah, that's great.
There you have it.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I love it, and that's so important. And I love how you just took us on the journey there of empathy, of understanding the customer's journey. Really, yeah, it's just an ice machine, right? But everything that happened before that, right? And you probably know the Chick-fil-A training video where people are walking up to the counter to get chicken, and each customer that walks up, a little thought bubble pops above their head, just got divorced, just lost a loved one, whatever the case may be. And, Chick-fil-A is known for great customer service, and what they're teaching their employees, and what I love to teach the CSRs is that very thing is, you have no idea what that customer has going on. And what's great about the call center, what I love about it, and this is Jim Rohn, and that quote I gave earlier was Jim Rohn. He's one of my favorites. But he says that don't just help people with their jobs, help people with their lives, right? And I know that's how you are. You want to make an impact in somebody's life. It's great to help them with their business, and that will help them with their lives, right? Give them stuff that's going to change their life, right? That's what matters to me, that I make an impact in somebody's life. And so I teach the CSRs, don't just help people with their air conditioning needs or their plumbing needs. Help them with their lives. You don't have any idea what they have going on, and you have more opportunity than anybody else in the company to do this, because you talk to more people and have more customer interactions than anybody. And and that's another thing, going back to AI, as much as I love AI call centers, but they can't do that. They don't have the understanding of that journey that we go through as people. Well, Zach, this has been awesome. I really appreciate your time. I know the listeners are going to get a ton of value out of this. I know I did. So thank you so much for being a part of this. And everybody, thank you so much for watching Socks Gone. We'll see you next time.
Socks gone. Where our socks are always knocked off.